This stands as the single biggest debate in pop culture history. We have all had this argument with our friends at lunch tables, in comic shops, or on online forums. We need to determine if the Avengers from the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the Justice League from the DC Extended Universe would be the last team standing. We are not just comparing stats here, but rather looking at the specific versions we saw in the movies, pitting the tactical Avengers from Endgame against the godlike Titans from Zack Snyder's Justice League. The answer is not as simple as comparing power levels, since it comes down to speed, magic, and one very specific weakness that changes everything. To make this fight fair, we need to set the ground rules by taking the heavy hitters from both sides. For the Avengers, we have the core team from the Infinity Saga, including Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, alongside powerhouses like Scarlet Witch, Vision, and Captain Marvel. On the other side sits the Justice League lineup of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, The Flash, and Cyborg. You immediately notice a massive difference, because the Avengers are a mix of super soldiers, tech geniuses, and a few cosmic beings. The Justice League is almost entirely made up of gods and monsters. This is not just a battle of heroes, but a battle of philosophies, where Marvel heroes feel like humans trying to be gods, while DC heroes are gods trying to be human. We begin with the leaders, pitting Captain America against Batman. Steve Rogers has the physical edge on paper, since the super soldier serum means he can run faster, hit harder, and fight longer than Bruce Wayne without getting tired. If they met in a boxing ring with no gadgets, Cap takes it, but Batman never fights fair. In the Snyder Cut, we saw Batman holding his own against alien demons using nothing but strategy and explosive tech. While Steve is throwing his shield, Bruce is analyzing attack patterns and deploying smoke pellets, sonics, or sticky bombs. Captain America fights to win, while Batman fights to survive. Cap's stamina might outlast Bruce in a random encounter, but if Batman has even 5 minutes to plan, he finds a way to neutralize the Star-Spangled Man. Tony Stark is a genius who built a suit of armor in a cave. But Victor Stone is a living computer, making this matchup a nightmare for Iron Man. Tony's suit relies on advanced AI and wireless connections, while Cyborg was forged from a mother box, which is alien technology that can hack into almost anything instantly. We saw Cyborg manipulate nuclear launch codes and alien ships with a thought in the movies. If Tony Stark brings his nanotech suit, Cyborg does not need to punch it, because he just needs to turn it off. Iron Man has more firepower with his repulsors and missiles, but against a guy who speaks the language of machines, Tony would be fighting a war on two fronts, both in the physical world and inside his own helmet. Next comes the heavy metal round of Thor Odinson versus Diana of Themyscira, which is the closest fight on the card. Both are thousands of years old, both are royalty, and both love a good battle. Thor brings the lightning and the area of effect damage, wiping out an entire army in seconds when he arrives in Wakanda during Infinity War. Wonder Woman is much faster, deflecting automatic gunfire at point-blank range in her movies. Her sword is sharp enough to cut through Doomsday's skin, meaning it can definitely cut through Thor. Thor might be more durable since he took the full force of a neutron star, but Diana is the better martial artist. Thor swings a hammer, while Diana strikes with surgical precision, pitting raw power against master skill. People often underestimate Aquaman, but the version played by Jason Momoa acts as a tank who can lift submarines and take hits from Superman. The Hulk is a different beast entirely, since Bruce Banner's angry alter ego gets stronger the madder he gets. Aquaman has a trident that can pierce indestructible skin to give him a lethal advantage, but he cannot match the Hulk in pure lifting strength. If the fight stays on land, Hulk eventually overwhelms Arthur Curry by sheer ferocity, but the situation shifts if they move anywhere near water, where Aquaman moves at supersonic speeds. Hulk throwing a boulder into orbit is still hard to beat when looking at their movie feats. This brawl destroys city blocks, but the Green Goliath likely takes the win on dry land. This point marks where the Justice League starts to dominate the fight. The Avengers have speedsters like Quicksilver and Makari, but they operate on a different scale than Ezra Miller's Flash. Quicksilver gets tired and hit by bullets in Age of Ultron, while Makari impressively creates sonic booms globally in Eternals. Barry Allen moves so fast in Zack Snyder's Justice League that he reverses time by entering the Speed Force, where physics stops applying. The Flash can move faster than the speed of light, meaning the Avengers cannot even see him. Before Captain America can lift his shield, Flash has already removed it, tied his shoelaces together, and moved him to a different zip code. Speed remains the biggest mismatch here. Superman presents a catastrophe for the Avengers if the Flash was already a problem. Superman fights the entire League, including Wonder Woman and Flash, at the same time in the Justice League movie, and wins easily. He tracks the Flash with his eyes while fighting everyone else, proving he is as fast as a speedster and as strong as the Hulk, while using heat vision that can slice through buildings. The Avengers struggled against Thanos, who is a physical brawler, but Superman is essentially Thanos with flight and super speed. Thor and Hulk are the only ones who can physically survive a punch from him, yet they cannot hit what they cannot catch. Superman feels like an unbeatable opponent without kryptonite, which the Avengers do not possess. The Avengers possess a nuclear option in Wanda Maximoff. Superman has very few weaknesses, but magic remains one of his biggest, since he has no special defense against it. A magic sword cuts him just like it cuts a human. Scarlet Witch warps reality instead of just throwing energy blasts, as seen in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where she erased people from existence with a whisper. If Wanda can perceive Superman, she can rewrite his reality by turning his bones into glass, or simply removing the air from his lungs. This scenario balances extreme offense with fragile defense, because Superman can kill Wanda in a millisecond with heat vision, but if he hesitates for even a moment, Wanda ends the fight instantly. Vision is another Avenger who causes major problems for the Justice League. He is made of vibranium and powered by an Infinity Stone, but his best ability is density control, which allows him to become intangible so physical punches pass right through him. Superman and Wonder Woman can hit extremely hard, but they cannot punch a ghost. Vision can phase his hand inside an opponent's chest and solidify it, creating an immediate victory against almost anyone who breathes. However, Vision has shown he can be damaged by high-energy attacks like Corvus Glai's blade. Superman's heat vision or Cyborg's sonic cannons might be able to disrupt his phasing, but he remains a defensive puzzle the League has to solve quickly. The Avengers hold the advantage regarding group dynamics. The Justice League functions as a team of individuals who come together to save the world, but the Avengers operate as a family that lives and trains together. We see them combining attacks effortlessly, such as Thor hitting Cap's shield with lightning, or Iron Man reflecting beams off specialized surfaces. They utilize call signs and coordinated maneuvers, whereas the Justice League relies heavily on everyone attacking the enemy at once. The Avengers' ability to cover each other's weaknesses proves superior in a prolonged fight. Captain America would direct the battle by keeping the heavy hitters occupied while the magic users set up the winning shot. The League has more raw power, but the Avengers possess better teamwork. We can examine the first scenario, where the teams meet randomly in a neutral city with no prep time. The Justice League wins quickly in this situation because the speed difference is simply too great to overcome without a plan. The Flash and Superman can incapacitate Hawkeye, Black Widow, Falcon, and even Captain America before the Avengers can even register a threat, while Iron Man gets hacked by Cyborg immediately. This leaves Thor and Hulk to get swarmed by the entire League. The Avengers need time to set up their magic users and heavy hitters, but speed determines the victor in a street fight. The DC Universe simply operates at a higher velocity than the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The balance shifts if we consider a second scenario, where both teams know the fight is coming. Batman excels at preparation, but Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, and T'Challa are also formidable planners. The Avengers have access to vibranium, space travel, and knowledge of the multiverse. Stark would likely build a Justice Buster armor or create energy fields to neutralize the Speed Force, while Doctor Strange could look at 14 million outcomes to find the one where they win. However, Batman would deduce the Avengers' reliance on technology and magic and create a contingency for every Avenger. It becomes a chess match between Batman and Iron Man that effectively results in a coin toss. Expanding the rosters to include heavy support adds more variables. Doctor Strange brings the mirror dimension, and if he traps Superman or Flash there, their speed becomes irrelevant because they cannot run out of a closed magical loop. On the DC side, Martian Manhunter adds telepathy that can shut down minds. It is unlikely the Hulk could resist a mental attack, though Scarlet Witch might stand a better chance. These wildcards turn the battle from a physical brawl into a complex metaphysical conflict. Marvel's magic users, like Strange and Wanda, are generally more versatile than DC's telepaths in a combat scenario. If Strange is involved, he can simply time loop the Justice League until they give up. We must determine which team ultimately wins. Looking at the feats shown on screen reveals that the Justice League takes the majority of victories, likely 7 out of 10 times. The combination of Superman's invulnerability and Flash's time-breaking speed is a hurdle the Avengers cannot clear physically. The only way the Avengers win is if Scarlet Witch or Doctor Strange can cast a spell before they get knocked out. However, considering Superman can move faster than the speed of thought, he could theoretically stop them before they even think of a spell. The Avengers are the better team, but the Justice League represents a higher tier of power. The reason we obsess over this question is not because we want to see one side lose, but because we want to see them interact. We want to see Tony Stark trade insults with Bruce Wayne, Thor and Wonder Woman smile at each other before clashing weapons, or the Hulk try to smash Superman and remain confused when the Man of Steel does not move. These characters represent the modern mythology of our world. Whether you support Team Marvel or Team DC, the fact that we can even have this debate with such rich cinematic history is a victory for fans everywhere. The battle between the Avengers and the Justice League will likely never happen on the big screen. But that keeps the debate alive by forcing us to analyze, imagine, and dream. The stats favor the gods of DC, but the heart and tenacity of Marvel's heroes make them opponents you can never truly count out. We will keep arguing, simulating, and watching until the studios decide to merge universes, as we would not have it any other way.